It's news time. Information is power. Be current. The news headline. President Muhammadu Buhari. Nigeria will experience bigger problems in future if we don't borrow. Federal government. The Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning on Thursday said that without the current borrowings by the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, that the country will experience bigger problems in the future. It also defended the recent rise in the Nigeria's debt profile, saying that the failure of the past administration has given the Buhari-led government no option than to borrow. When Buhari came into power in 2015, Nigeria's debt was about 10 trillion naira, but had risen to 38 trillion naira as of September 2021. The most challenging part of Nigeria's borrowing is the debt service to revenue ratio, which stands at 73%. When former President Olusegun Obasanjo was in office, Nigeria's debt reduced the debt burden from almost 36 billion naira to 3.65 billion naira dollar, between 1999 to 2007. A huge chunk of debt reduction came from the debt forgiveness from the Paris Club. Nigeria's debt under late President Umaru Yar'Adua was 6.17 trillion naira as of 2011, but since 2015, Nigeria's debt had risen by 28 trillion naira. Last Tuesday, the Debt Management Office said in the first 9 months of 2021 that the debt rose by 4.89 trillion naira from 33.1 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2021 to 38 trillion naira in third quarter. But Nigeria's Minister for State Budget and National Planning, Kïdñãp, said the country's debt was as a result of the failure of past leaders to utilize Nigeria's wealth to build infrastructure projects. Agba, while defending the rising debt profile, said in an interview monitored by the Whistler on Arise TV that most of the loans were used to fund new and abandoned projects by previous administration. He said that why we are having those debts, it is because when we were rich, things that we needed to be done were not done. Like the president would say, take a stock of our crude oil production over the years and look at the price of crude, take an average price of crude and look at what the country earned. Why do we have so much infrastructure deficit? And if those who are not taken care of today, then we will have a bigger problem in the future. What we should look at is this debt that you speak about. What are the conditions for them? Are they concessionary loans or are they commercial loans? In the first place, they are concessionary loans, and the interest rate ranges from 1.8 to about 2.5% as against when you go to commercial banks and get a loan of 15 to over 20%. He said that Nigerians have a moratorium of 10 years to begin to pay the loans, which he described as a gift. I think that what is important is what is the money being used for. The Ajaokuta-Alaja rail line started about 35 years ago and no train ever passed it. Trees started growing on it. The government resuscitated it, revamped it, changed it from being a cargo rail, and it is beginning to run after 35 years, and it is carrying passengers, he added. Therefore, he had said that the loans that have been borrowed by the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari was needed to help out, to address certain issues that are concessionary, saying that with time, everyone in the country would understand the necessity of obtaining these loans. Bandits who abducted Dambo Usia, the police orderly of a slain former governorship aspirant in Zamfara State, Sagir Amidu, along the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway last Sunday, have demanded 200 million as ransom for his release. Also, abductors of 66 worshippers of the Emmanuel Baptist Church, Kakao Daji, in the Chikun local government area of Kaduna State, have demanded 99 million naira to release the 61 remaining victims in their custody after shooting 5 of them, killing 3 and injuring 2. It was learned that the bandits involved in the policeman's abduction gave a 6-hour ultimatum to his family to raise the 200 million ransom. They reportedly claimed that they were about to relocate to another place where they couldn't make phone calls and would move along with the victims. A Hausa tabloid, Moyayansi, published in Kaduna on Friday, claimed to have obtained the recorded phone conversation between the bandit and the policeman's family. The newspaper said that the family begged to pay 2 million naira, but the bandit replied that you shouldn't say so because this is a big man in our custody. You are saying what is not possible. The gunmen were annoyed when the family pleaded that they could afford to pay only 2 million naira, and the gunmen expressed their anger and gave the family a 6-hour deadline to pay the 200 million ransom the payment added. This as well is about also related to the Shiruru incident in the southeast part of the country. It is a suffocating and frustrating scenario. Excellence is sacrificed on the altar of mediocrity. People are not promoted in the public sphere on the basis of what they know, but who they know or where they come from. Having said that, I have often read with utter amazement people who try to malign and paint those advocating for Biafra as evil or fraudsters. This is most unfortunate and is often informed on mere hate. The truth is that Biafra advocates are simply those fed up with the Nigerian system and, most importantly, the marginalization of the Igbo, real or perceived. It is therefore uncharitable to say that they are fraudulent. It is ridiculous that while most people will agree that Nigeria is not working, they will in another breath begin to cast aspersions on those who say they want out because the country is not working for them, which is basically what Biafra is about. Here is probably the only place in the world where people call white black and black white because they can't bear to admit the truth. Another unfortunate falsehood is the idea that Igbo wants Biafra so that they will dominate other groups that fall within the area that once constituted Biafra. This is another mischievous attempt to paint the Igbo in bad light. While some of those who advocate for Biafra have continued to draw their map to include former Eastern region, some of us continue to insist that should there be Biafra, it ought to be an exclusively Igbo affair, and in any case, those who often make the hate-informed arguments about Igbo wanting to annex other groups ignore the fact that there are also people in those groups who are asking for Biafra. And at the same time, they ignore the fact that even the Biafra advocates who draw this wide map have often insisted that everyone reserves the right to opt in or opt out. In the final analysis, my point is that while all of us may not agree that Biafra is the solution, it is hypocrisy to pretend not to understand the point those who argue for Biafra are making. You read all manner of hate comments about the Igbo and people who call for Biafra, and you wonder where such is coming from. To summarize, if you ask me to choose between Biafra and the status quo in Nigeria, I would not hesitate to choose the former because Nigeria, as it poses serious threats to my very existence,